Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. We're looking at a new moon today and tomorrow, the 9th and the 10th, in the mutable water sign of Pisces, and it is technically occurring at 5 a.m. on the 10th at 20 degrees 17 minutes. So let's take a look at the forecast for the energy of this weekend. New moon in Pisces, Saturday, March 9th and Sunday, March 10th, elevates the intuition, inspiration, empathy, and healing spiritual energy brought by this lunation to a level of higher expectation and belief, and directs it toward beneficial growth, change, and transformation, as the moon and sun in Pisces are joined by Saturn, Neptune in Pisces, and Mercury shifting from Pisces to Aries, while forming sextile aspects with Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. A new moon always brings the opportunity for introspection, followed by emergence and new beginnings. This new moon occurs in the last sign of the zodiac, associated with the 12th house, which rules other planes of existence and the all that is, as well as the spiritual understanding and potential release from the karmic wheel of reincarnation that comes from integrating the life lessons of the other 11 houses. Most of what we do not see with our eyes but perceive with our spirit, or manifest through our faith, comes from where Pisces and Neptune are and what we have in and or transiting the 12th house within our natal charts, which are being tweaked in a good way by a yearning for beauty, healing, inspiration, and a higher love. As Mercury conjunct Neptune shifts from mutable water to cardinal fire, it resonates with Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries, which in turn are sextile to Venus and Mars in Aquarius. Look within and dream, seek spiritual guidance, rest or escape this weekend. You will have to apply the insights or advice you receive to a course of action that is right for you soon, even though Venus and Mars square to Jupiter and Uranus indicate there will be inner or outer resistance to growth and change to overcome. The stars are sailing in a sea of anything is possible Pisces energy, and love is the best feeling to follow as your guide to the future. So usually I go over the Sabian symbol. I am skipping it today because I just felt that, that was then, this is now, and it is not culturally appropriate. So I'm just going to jump right into looking at what's going on in the sky right now. And we do have a bowl chart where the power of the planets is kind of like a relay race. Do you remember relay races when we were kids, where we had to go to the next runner and pass the baton, and then they ran to the next runner and passed the baton? So there was a relay of energy and everybody was connected. And that's what's going on with the planets now, as we have them stacked up one right after the other, moving from Aquarius through Pisces to Aries to Taurus. And that creates a strong dynamic energy that can be very driven. It creates what's called a bowl chart, which is kind of like a train, where we've got the engine and the caboose at the front and the back of that string of planets. So they can hold a lot of potential energy for where something's going and what's pushing it or what's behind it that's following through. So looking at what's at the edges of the bowl can also give us a good idea of what's key right now. Obviously, new moon in Pisces is going to bring in that flexible, adaptable, anything is possible water energy, which is going to be elevated to a higher level because we do have Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, being activated at this new moon as well. We have Saturn, which is a very realistic planet, work-oriented and rather serious, grounding all of this inspirational energy. And then we've got Mercury making the shift at 11 o'clock tonight, the 9th. So just as we're changing over days, we have a change in Mercury, the planet of thought and communication, where we get the quickening and the decisiveness, the assertiveness of Mercury coming out of more boundaryless and scattered or not as defined energy of Pisces, going into that I am Aries self-directed energy. There may be a big aha or awareness that comes at this new moon because of that shift happening at the same time. Plus we're very close to spring, just around the corner. And we have, for some people, a change of clocks occurring as we go into Sunday. We'll be looking at, what is it, spring ahead. So we move our clocks forward for some people. What this shows us on the corners of the edges of the bowl here are Pluto, which is fear, control, power, disempowerment or empowerment, crisis and transformation, upheaval. It intensifies anything it connects with, and it is connecting with the Pisces planets through that sextile. And this gives a lot of drive, the feeling that it is time to step up and put the energy, particularly manifesting energy, to work to clarify what it is that you want. And even if it seems very improbable or even impossible, the willpower that Pluto can give you can actually support faith or belief. And if you follow through with taking the actions, then you may manifest things that other people say just isn't possible, or that even you might have doubted in yourself before. There is a leveling up here. And you would have to look at your own natal chart and see, well, where are these planets transiting right now in your chart? And that will give you an idea of what areas of life are being activated right now by these transits and this lunation. Jupiter and Uranus are at the other edge of the bowl. Jupiter is growth oriented, it's optimistic. It can, of course, on its shadow side, be excess of something. And that is one thing I could have written for hours on what the potential meanings of things are. A square aspect can be challenging. However, when we have a square pop up, either in our natal chart, being born with one, or having one go on in the sky by transit that affects you and society as a whole, it's pressure being brought to bear that usually leads to having to work at that to release the pressure, to make those planets somehow do their work. And a lot of times life gives us stuff that's challenging, and then we have to step into using our planets. So we've got Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius in that square with Jupiter and Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. That is the planet of change, the future, uniqueness, originality, technology, as well as fame and popularity. I see that square particularly as perhaps a changing of your values, perhaps in a relationship. If any relationships have gone stale, or you realize that that person no longer either respects you as an individual, or you're seeking more freedom, or you've both basically changed and you're no longer in harmony with each other, there may be a separation that occurs. Whether it is permanent or temporary may depend upon whether you want to be back together again or not. But if you are meeting new people at this time, then there is definitely opportunity for attraction, interest, and even love to grow. I think the thing to be careful of from the romantic perspective is what do you want from a relationship? And are you going to be satisfied with it or not? Um, and then I would recommend clear communication and make sure that both people know what they're getting into and that they're seeing things from the same perspective, because it's highly likely that that square indicates a conflict in values, or two people wanting something different, or under the influence of highly romantic Pisces energy, especially with Moon and Sun with Neptune, which can create the fantasy, the illusion, the strong romantic attraction. Are you seeing things for what they really are, or the person for what they really are? And or are you deluding yourself so that you can give yourself permission to enjoy something like a one-night stand? And there may be one-night stands or very quick attraction and then repulsion and falling out of connection with that square that's happening right now. Some people who are friends may also be trying to figure out, couples who are friends, are they ready to go from friends to friends with benefits or more than friends? And then how will that change and shape the future of the relationship? So yes, there's potential for love here, but it may be functioning on different levels. And there's nothing wrong with romance and fantasy and escapism, but there will be a reality check at some point in time, particularly as we move further into the Aries season, which will activate that North Node and the opposition to the South Node in Libra. And that's about self and the other. And it's not so much about the story or the imagery anymore. It's more about who we are in the relationship, who's the other person, and why are we together, and are we in agreement that we're working toward the same thing. We will also be going into Mercury retrograde in April from the 1st until I think it's the 25th. And some people may start with somebody new now and then go running back to an ex during the retrograde and rethink what they might be restless with now, or bored, or looking for something different, because they feel like they're not in love anymore. There's a desire right now for falling in love, but sustaining is going to be the tough part. So I would say it's pretty much 50-50. Some people are going to maybe find the love of their life, or deepen a relationship and a commitment where it's mutual on both sides, and then other people are possibly going to have encounters or the star-crossed lover type of thing that occurs. Particularly while we have Mercury and Neptune conjunct, it can feel a bit like communication is like we're playing telephone, where what we say into the can and the sound going down the string and how it comes out the other can. And I probably am dating myself by mentioning that, because there's most likely a huge bunch of younger people who don't know that game at all. But what people say versus what they hear can be two entirely different things right now. Yet it may be true for each person. And I talked about that about one or two daily forecasts ago, that everybody has their story and their view. It can be a wonderful time for conversion, but is that a good or a bad thing? That really depends upon the existing situation. Ultimately, yes, there will be change and growth and potentially it is for the better. Yes, that square means there will be some challenges, some awkwardness, some discomfort, or some people fall away. But there could be new opportunities or people that slide in and immediately fill up that space. So we have fixed energy here with Aquarius and Taurus, and then we have strong mutable. And then we're moving into cardinal, and fixed means stubborn or set. Mutable is flexible and adaptable and can see the multiple options. And then as we begin to move toward more cardinal energy in the weeks ahead, with Mercury being the forerunner here, the need to be right or to lead or initiate is what comes forward with that cardinal energy. And it will be self-focused, very self-oriented as we go further into April and we lose the Pisces season and move into the Aries season. Reach as high as you can go right now and give it your best shot, whatever it is. And even ask for more than you would expect that you should be receiving. Like if you're sitting down to negotiate for a job and you want, 150,000 a year, ask for 180. You can always go back down, but go as high as you possibly can. There is some risk-taking impulse here with the Aquarius to Taurus square, and you won't know whether you will gain or you will lose until you try. And perhaps with what we have going on in Pisces and Aries right now, you're able to hold the picture of what it is that you want, and you're able to embody that feeling as if you already have that because of the supportive aspects that very imaginative, image-heavy Pisces is holding. Definitely use divination or meditation or connect with nature while we have so much of this mutable, watery, highly sensitive energy going on, and ask your questions, because questions beg answers. So your higher self probably already knows a lot of the answers. You just have to pose the question and then listen and watch for the signs that will lead you in the right direction. And if you have a choice of being, taking a risk for love, go for it. I can, coming from the perspective of being an older person now, I do not have any regrets, even over some of the things that, especially relationships, that maybe were ill-advised. I don't think I would trade them in, honestly, even the ones that were challenging. So that's what you stand to gain right now if you do take that risk and chance with new people or new endeavors, that in the long run there would be gain, even if presently it may not appear to be so. All right, I think that's it. And do stay safe. Be mindful if you're using any substances, because Pisces energy can definitely distort time and your sense of whether you are, drunk enough or high enough yet. And it's easy to get distracted and not be paying attention when you need to be. So if you are going to be indulge in the safety of your own home, You may notice when you're driving that while that Mercury-Neptune conjunction is going on, people may just be very erratic on the road as well and not signaling or not doing what's expected. So be mindful of your driving as well and your surroundings wherever you go. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk with you in 2 weeks.